Guys, tonight we're talking about some watches that we bought this week and some pieces we probably shouldn't have. We're back.
Nice to be back.
Hey guys, welcome back. The Trading Desk, episode number 1 million and something. It is Thursday night. This is not Joshua Thanos.
It is not.
Mike Manjos. Been here
nice
before.
To be here again.
He's
Thanks
back.
for having me back.
Very on-demand personality. People kept asking where Manjos was. Where were you?
I've been all over. Last I was in Hong Kong last week. So
all over the place.
All over the place. But yeah, a couple other nice Switzerland, Moscow.
It's nice when you see him stroll into the office.
It's nice to be back. I'm actually home for a month now, so I'm very excited about it.
Fantastic. All right. Good to have you back.
Great to be here.
We got some cool stuff for this episode tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning back in. Obviously, first episode since we announced that Josh is no longer going to be doing the show regularly. He may be back occasionally as a guest appearance, but it's the new regime, right? 2.0. So we're going to start off in old fashioned. We did bring a bunch of watches for you guys today.
We did.
So we're going to talk about all these, but in usual fashion, I'm going to pull right to wrist shots.
Your classic.
I liberated this from the watch box after wearing the new Octo Finissimo for 2 weeks in a row. This is the 114060 Submariner Non-Date. Everybody gets mad when I say non-date, but it's my watch. It's not yours.
It's just a Submariner, yes.
So this has no date on it. Call it whatever you want. Ceramic 114060. This is every time I put this watch back on my wrist, it reminds me why I own it. It's just completely versatile, everyday type watch that always feels at home. And I think no matter how far, like I love the Explorer too, I love the Octo even, like, but I think no matter how far I get in the watch game, like there'll always be a place for a Submariner.
Always a place. Most classic watch there is.
Yeah,
and especially no date Submariner.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Cool. I actually I was wearing my Batman today, but I went into the vault and dug out, which is one of my all-time favorites. It's a 218206, so it's a platinum 41. Very unusual blackout dial. Almost all the Day-Date platinums you see are Glacier, because Glacier is the only way it comes, typically. So basically, everybody who buys platinum usually gets Glacier. This was somebody special ordered, I'm sure. I've only seen 2 of them in my years dealing with platinum Rolexes, and I just love the feel of this thing. I mean, it just... Yeah, it's heavy, it's meaty, it's beautiful, it's the perfect size for me. I'm getting very attached to it very quickly.
I put it on my wrist earlier. It's very, very nice, and that's a factory dial, which is awesome. It's got a nice sheen to the all black. It's not like all one tone, so it's nice. It does feel
it's almost
like
a grayish,
like a very impressive, expensive dial.
But the whole watch, just like driving down here, I was looking at it and it was just beautiful. It just
it feels
good.
I wonder if I just keep driving. All right.
Who wants those kids in college anyway?
Yeah, that's a landmine in of itself. You were telling me, yeah. All right, so that's wrist shots. That's introductions. Top 5.
Top 5.
We did top 5 last time.
We did top 5 last year. Actually, last time we had the Raymond Weil in the top 5, which completely threw me off, but we handled it. So I have no idea what top 5 is today, but let's get to it.
There we go.
Very nice top 5 today.
Okay, it's a little weird, but I can roll with that. So what do I know about this gram? Not a whole lot. Silverstone. I know it's the big. I believe this is the 47 millimeter or the 48 millimeter. This GMT. We've seen quite a few of these grams. I don't know if we bought a bunch of these. We've had a lot recently.
There've been a lot coming through. I mean, you used to only see Chrono Fighters. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
that was which I loved. They were kind of cool.
Swordfish.
Right.
But these are cool. These came out a couple years ago in the GT case, and they're just big. So if you like big watches, there's still tons of guys out there that are,
I actually like the blue on it too. I like the black and blue look.
Yeah. So
it's big. It is a big watch. I mean, I do like big watches. I like heavy. So I mean, I think I could actually pull that off. And at 4250, it's
4250. I would assume retail is probably double that at least. Knowing what gram is on the secondary, and they are cool watches in the sense of like they're quirky. You get some complication. You get a GMT chronograph for not a lot of money,
and it's a good story. I mean, I like the whole company. It's just it's one of those quirky small brands, but it's got a place.
Right. I mean, I'd probably say that that's a safer bet than something like a BRM.
Yes.
Something.
I definitely like it better there.
All right, number 4. I'll let you go with that one.
Number 4 is a very cool. I don't think I've seen this one in person yet, but To me, it's what I call 70s hell chronograph.
Sure.
I grew up with these chronographs. Omega did these styles.
Cushion
case. I actually had a Seiko Bullhead. That was a cool old chronograph. I'm a sucker for chronographs. We talked about this earlier today. I know you're not the biggest chronograph guy in the world, but I love the black on white. Love the case shape. Looks like it's in great shape, too. Again, I haven't seen that one physically. I've been on the road, so I haven't dug through the vault, and that's a bargain.
Dude, so vintage Breitling has made a real comeback lately, and I think it's has to do with kind of what they're lacking on the market new.
I would agree.
So I mean, for $32.50 for an automatic chronograph with a cool, tonode or cushion case vintage flair to it,
nothing.
That watch, I mean, so you wear that for 2 years and you sell it for $3,500.
Exactly. There's no downside.
It's
on
already
that watch.
Hit the bottom of its market. It's never going anywhere else. So.
No,
anyways.
And all those 70 things are coming back. I mean, you see what the Hoyers are bringing today.
Yeah.
You see some of those, the just crazy money.
The stuff that's popular now is the reissue of this stuff.
Right, exactly. The Omega reissues, but the Breitling did the
This is a
SOP.
perfect scenario in which, why would you go spend $9,000 retail
on a new one when you can buy the original for $3,200?
So, or $3,000, whatever. So, and then we have at number 3, real quick, we have the IWC Big Pilot Heritage. That's the limited edition. In the bronze case. That one's pretty cool in person because it has the blued hands against the faux patina and then the bronze.
Right.
So it's got a really cool kind of expensive
look
to it.
Big Pilot's iconic as can be. I mean, I love that watch. I love that everything. It's IWC. It screams across the room. I mean, you know me. I love watches that are true to what they are. You know that's a IWC from anywhere.
Yeah. So the Big Pilot, like you were saying, doesn't get more kind of classic than that. For me personally, a little bit big from what I would want to wear, especially in bronze because you're adding the weight to it. But like I said,
I like big and heavy.
I've talked to, 10 guys in the last 2 weeks that are like, I know everybody's going down, but I'm staying here and I'm wearing the big watches. So more power to you. I mean, I guess, that's part of collecting. You figure out what works for you.
Figure out what works for you. There's definitely all kinds of things. Number 2. Okay.
Your favorite piece.
I have mixed feelings on Daytonas, but this particular one is, again, that's the Zenith Daytona with the black rings. Love that piece. We've seen a big uptick in the last probably 2 years on Daytonas. Everybody's figured out that, the old Zeniths are worth something, especially with papers. They've gone through the roof. I know we had one earlier this week that we sold with papers that was pushing 30. These are classics. I mean, I grew up with these. I am not a Daytona guy because I'm a date cripple. I can't have a watch without a date. It bothers me that they never put a date on it. But the Zenith movement, it's historic. It's great. These are going nowhere but up, I think. I also think the 11652s are going to make a move soon. I was talking to people over in Asia, and they're already picking up over there. And we've seen them creep up a little bit.
I mean, I think we all know Daytonas, are kind of an all boats rise situation with the ceramics leading the way, but the El Primeros over the last, I remember when these pieces were nothing. They were pennies. And
I remember selling them new for $7,000.
But the crazy thing is, I can go buy a 2019 El Primero Zenith for what, $4,000?
Yeah.
All right. So, but same movement, but way older.
Yep.
And let's put it in this Rolex. And it's like, but what you're buying is the scarcity of existence, right? You're buying the fact that watch either nobody wanted it when it was new.
I mean, honestly, this was the first one that nobody could get.
Right.
The previous generation was the one that nobody wanted. I mean, I remember having them sitting in the showcase in the early 80s, and we celebrated in 85, 86 when we sold it, and then 2 years later this came out. And from day one, it was an over-retail waiting list watch.
So for me, the El Primeros didn't exist at retail when I started in the watch game. They did for you. But my experience with that watch is they were readily available when I was selling them.
Yeah,
it was like they weren't hard to get. They were cheaper.
That bad. No.
Now it's like, you get a phone call and the guy just wants to finance a house because he has an El Primero. I mean, the market is what it is. And
it's crazy what the ceramics have done. I mean, they just keep going up. I mean, I can't believe that we got one in this week. It's gone in 2 days. I mean, they're not even hitting the site anymore.
For a watch that I wouldn't own at retail if it were me.
I've
said that before.
You have said
it's
that
not
before.
My thing. So it's funny because I haven't been doing this as long as you, but you're a stickler for, like, you like chronos. I don't, I like them, but I could take it or leave it.
Right.
And I don't like dates, and you have to have a date. So it's so cool to kind of see what evolves from your own personal experience, and everybody's
Everybody's different. That's
some of it is trend based, but most of it is personal preference, which is awesome. So number one, we have, I guess, the watch that started the current craze of the Pepsi, right? So
yes,
this is
it's the original.
Yeah, the original GMT Master Pepsi. 12450. Again, I remember when these watches were 6,500, $7,000.
Yeah, but I also remember, they actually were a little stronger than that. They've softened a little bit. The 1675s have felt like they've come down a little bit because everybody's chasing the new one.
Right.
So I think at 12,450 that's a decent buy today.
I think
I remember when they were $4,000 too.
Yeah, exactly. So again, when I look at that watch, I see 6,750. That's kind of in my head and place and time when I knew that watch. That's what it was. Not quite 4. Four's hey, even better.
I'm old.
But the thing is that again, situation in which the new one is obviously in demand, and this piece has come up. This one happens to be really, really nice, and I will say all the old Pepsis are color-wise are better than the new one.
I was going to say, the funny thing is, every time you put that watch on a screen in front of me, it makes me smile. Yeah. I don't know why, but there's something piece. That's just a cool piece, and I get excited every time I see one of those.
I'm not a huge fan of the new one, and I've said as much. I think the new Batman, or Batgirl, whatever you want to call it.
It's a stupid name. I don't like Batgirl. We got to come up with a better name than Batgirl.
It is definitely...
Somebody come up with a name that's better than Batgirl.
I got you. It's definitely better to me than the Pepsi. In my opinion, I like the watch better. I think it works better on... Anyways.
I'm still a sucker for the white gold. I think the white gold GMT is the perfect one.
Well, that's way to escalate it. Way past
No, I'm serious, though. If you think about it, that's an awesome watch.
For the same
meteorite...
Picking between the Steel Pepsi and the Steel Batman on Jubilee, which one are you picking?
I hate Jubilees. I can't. That's like
pick a watch.
Bad.
Pick a watch.
Pause
for dramatic
I go
effect.
Batman.
All right.
Because I love Batman.
Well, you own one, right?
I know I own one. It's my daily driver. But
all right.
I'm not
top
a Jubilee
5.
guy.
We're done.
We're done with top 5.
It's never coming back again.
It was a good top 5 though today.
No, actually, the lineup was pretty good.
All right.
And not a tremendous amount of all one-sided brand. So.
Perfect.
All right. We have. We used to do this thing with the Josh and I started it. We kind of moved away from it, but it was top 2 watches we bought this week. I always liked it. I thought it was cool. Kind of let you guys see stuff before it's posted. So we're bringing it back. Manjos and I picked the 2 watches that we bought this week that we thought were cool and different. Mm-hmm. And why don't you go first with your top?
You want me to go first? All
right. My guest, top.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to go with my favorite. Nobody knows me here that well, but I'm a Lange junkie. Just for whatever reason, fell in love with the brand early on and have been following it since. This is something I actually bought in Hong Kong. Was dealing with a big Rolex dealer who happened to have this one Lange sitting there, and I asked about it, and then happened to see what it was. From the front, it looks like a normal one, except traditionally you don't see blue steel hands and yellow gold. Most of the Lange ones you're going to see are rose gold. They've got away from yellow in most of their things today, as a lot of like Jaeger did, and a lot of the manufacturers went strictly to rose, but the originals were yellow. When you flip it over is where it gets exciting, for me at least. So you'll notice this has a solid case back. And it's engraved and almost hand engraved if you look at if you can get close on the serial number there. So Lange, if everybody knows, came back in 1994. Wall came down in 91. Took Walter Lange, Gunther Bullenheim, and a couple of the guys to 3 years to produce their first collection of watches. And obviously their first watch was the Lange 1, not being the best namers in the world, but it stuck.
Super original name.
So in 1994, they came out with a Lange 1 in a champagne dial, in an argente dial, which is this one with the blue steel hands, and a platinum piece. They did a tourbillon, the Saxonia, and the Arcade. And solid case back. So the first Langes they made, the first serial number started with 110000 was the first series. This particular one is 110040.
Nice.
So this is basically the 40th Lange ever produced.
And then so what he's trying to tell you is he doesn't know anything about Lange, is what he's trying to say.
Exactly.
No, but so we don't know how many of these exist with the solid case back.
We don't know. All I know is that I have their sequential numbers. So in 94 to 95, they went through 1,125 pieces over I think there were 6 references. So my guess would be there's a couple hundred of them.
Yeah.
Out in the world.
Pretty rare pick.
Right. And in 1995, they switched it over. This is a 101002. They switched it over to a 101022 with a see-through back in 95.
Right.
And subsequently, all of them, except some of the special editions, were done with see-through back. So again, it's a plain-looking watch, but it's just warm to my heart because it's
cool in its scarcity,
cool, it's rare,
and it's also kind of cool that you caught it in the wild.
The brand. And I found it out of the blue.
Right.
And
it found you.
Even the guys who I was with was like, well, why are you buying that?
Yeah. So that watch found you.
Yes.
I would argue you should probably add that to your
I really
collection.
should add that to my collection. I would argue
and
that.
then we
too.
won't have to refinish it.
Correct.
I think we leave that one as is unless the new owner wants to refinish it. But cool piece.
Thanks.
And kind of a cool find.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, I think I'm gonna go right out of the gate with like the best piece on the table.
It is the best piece on the table, without a doubt.
All right, so this is the new 44 millimeter chronograph that you guys have seen before, the Journe. What you have not seen is this is solid platinum. It might look like titanium because it's blasted, but this is a very hefty piece.
It is such a nice piece. I mean, it's such a good feel.
You've also seen this chronograph. My only experience with this piece until now has been the yellow dial, which, I don't know. It's what
horrible.
it is.
I hate the yellow dial.
It's not for me.
It's
but
not for me.
I can understand it's sporty. This is what we call, it's a blue mauve, but essentially it's purple.
It's purple.
So yeah, for all respect, it's got this really beautiful silver subdials on this purple dial, which when the light hits it right, just jumps off. The money shot for this is definitely the movement, but this is it might look like a traditional chronograph, but this is a monopusher Rattrapante. Correct. So the top is the monopusher, start, stop, reset, and the split for the Rattrapante.
You're forgetting the most important thing.
What's that?
Big date.
Big date. Double
Chronograph
date.
with a date.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
So yeah, this does it for everybody. Plus, it's solid platinum. And then the cool thing with this watch, and I've always said, like, Journe for me is a chronograph manufacturer. In terms of like when he eventually kicks the bucket, I think he will be known as probably the greatest chronograph watchmaker.
Interesting.
And for me, my favorite watch that he makes is the Centigraph, and I think that's like, for me, it's the most iconic. It's the one that I would own. I do like this piece a lot. The rubber integration shows you that it was meant to be a sports watch. So you have rubber all over the case, the crown, in the bracelet. Almost everywhere you would expect to hit this against something. The thought is, let's put some rubber on it. I'm going to flip, even the crown is coated. So I'm going to flip this over and you guys can take a look at this. Look at that. So, not quite, we're not looking at an early brass movement by any means.
No.
But we are looking at something pretty damn special. And that might be something that when you wear that to work, you have to take it off and flip it upside down, put it on your desk.
At least once a day.
Yeah. I was playing with the monopusher and just watching the movement from the back. It's really, really, really special. So, yeah.
I think the other thing that's cool is the fact that he actually had the guts to mix rubber and platinum. I mean, if you think about it, who else is going to do that?
It's such a stealth wealth type of watch.
Right.
Well, I think all Journes kind of are. They don't look like, $100,000 watches. They all are stealth wealth, but this has a freaking purple dial, and it's blasted platinum. So, hey, let's not make the platinum the key here. Let's make the movement the key. Let's blast it. Let's make it low key. It's really, really special, and I happen to have fallen hard for this. If I had $100,000 to spend on a watch, discretionary income, hey, that might be a contender.
It's an awesome pick.
All right. That was mine. What's your number two?
My second one, people are going to laugh at, I think, because I went old school. I've been spending a lot of my life this year working on our Rolex business, and we are becoming one of the biggest in the world in Rolex. Rolex sports watches are about as iconic and hot as anything is. This, I feel like, is the next one that's going to go. Explorer 2s, I own this watch myself. I owned always this and a two-tone blue sub. Were kind of my two daily watches. I still have it. It's a great piece. It's a great function. It's a nice size. I like the white on steel, and to me, it's a steel sports watch that's under $7,000.
So there's
nowhere to go but up. This is the 40 millimeter.
The 40 millimeter 14060, right? Oh no,
no,
I'm sorry.
No. 16570.
Yeah, 16570.
Yep. So and again, the white is my favorite. They do the black as well, but I've been doing my best to corner the market on these.
Yeah, so we're buying a lot of inventory right now, and
because I think they're undervalued.
To your point, yeah, I mean we've put a tremendous amount. Manjos is spearheading basically our Rolex acquisition. We're basically pushing as hard as we can into Rolex, and that's a piece that seems to be trending up. We're not only buying more of them, but we're selling more than we ever had.
Crazy, yeah.
And I think the piece just behind this in terms of like turn ratio was the Yacht Master 2, the old one.
Yeah,
which is funny because I watched it for a long time. It was very undesirable, especially when the newer one came out, the new hands. But now we're starting to see them pick up. So this could be the one. And then the cool thing with this watch, obviously I like the aesthetic of this because I own the 42 millimeter version. Right. This one has the red hand, GMT hand. But the cool thing with this is there's variants of this watch. It was out for so long that like you can find ones with tritium, you can find them with different looms.
You also find this is what they call a no holes version. Right. They do ones. The earlier one has the holes in the case.
I've even seen like mistake screen printed dials from those. Yep. There's like cool little variations.
There was the ivory dial that they did for the 1 year, the 16550.
Exactly. So for collectors, there's cool little like one-off variants and stuff, which is neat. That was before maybe that manufacturer had all of their shit together.
Yeah, there was variations in that stuff before, and there's not anymore.
We found a Daytona the other day, a white gold Daytona that had a misprinted upside down 6.
Yep.
It's like, all right. It's just, I mean, as weird and cool as that could be. I mean,
you get the GMTs, what they call chopstick dials over there.
So here's another one. This is my number 2 for this week purchase. Everybody knows this watch and loves this watch. The Z Blue.
Z Blue is a great watch, and it's another watch that's taken off.
Yeah, so everybody wants this watch right now. It's gotten, obviously, all steel Rolex is hard to get, but the Z Blue seems to be like, when we get one, it's gone already, or we just don't have it. It's not a piece that we can keep in stock.
Nope.
I love the Milgauss. I absolutely adore the watch. It's a little, if I were to own one, I'd have to get it matted out. It's a little too shiny for me. But I love the engineer aspect of this. The Z Blue is not my favorite iteration. I like the regular green tinted GV.
Green black, yeah.
That or probably my favorite Milgauss of all time is just the white non-tinted, the white with the orange markers that's been discontinued.
That's my wife's daily watch.
Is it?
That's what I bought.
So
her. I love that watch.
What I would love to do if I could get a GV crystal is buy that white dial and put a green crystal on it. I think it would be so cool. And like, what would show off the green tint more than a white dial? So, in my opinion, a failed opportunity from Rolex to put a green crystal on something. But the GV, man, I think I bought that Z Blue and it's gone already. It's sold. Yeah. But I had to bring it on the show to show.
It's a great pick. I mean, without a doubt. That's just, the blue and orange definitely works together.
It is cool.
Yeah. And again, anything in Rolex Sport models right now are just flying through.
Awesome.
Because again, there's no downside to them. I mean, you're going to wear it, you can beat it up, you can wear it every day, and you're not going to take a big hit.
So we both went, which is kind of funny because we didn't really talk to each other about this, but we both went with like higher end picks and a cheaper pick. Well, not that the Rolex sports stuff's cheap, but
it's a good value. I mean, you can't argue the value on them.
And then, so we were rummaging through the safe to figure out what we should even talk about today, and a couple of these watches came up, and we had a WTF moment in terms of what the hell are we doing? Why is this even here? Why does this exist in our vault currently? Which led to, well, why don't we do that on the show? Why don't we talk about, we have a guy on the show. He does shows every Wednesday. He talks about stuff from the vault.
Right.
His name might be on the head of a company. He doesn't really know a lot about watches. He likes to throw shade on his shows about people learning stuff. All I would say is I always like tuning in on Wednesdays to see Tim's other show with a guest.
There you go.
So, back at you. But anyhow, this is the stuff that said individual will not bring out and show you because it's not the the cool stuff.
The cool stuff. No, these are
the dogs.
This is not the cool stuff.
So these watches are for sale. We are doing ourselves no service telling you that we don't like these watches, but it is funny as hell. And there is a saleable aspect to this in which they're just great value propositions because they're cheap.
They are dirt cheap.
But they suck. They are ugly watches.
All right. Bad. All right,
so I will let you pick which one you want to talk about.
I will start with the ladies.
All right.
Because again, it is an unusual piece. It's a brand that I used to go visit all the time in Basel. I think they're gone now. It's one I could never pronounce, so we used to call it Dagger because we couldn't figure out how to pronounce the thing. But they used to make spectacularly intricate, complicated ladies' watches. Is really their specialty.
I'm going to take a stab and go DeGraziano, but that's probably wrong.
Okay, it's better than I'm going to do. The bezel on this is absolutely incredibly beautifully done, machine cut, I'm sure, rubies. That cost a fortune to do. I mean, the retail on this was, I think you looked it up, it was insanely
$141,000.
Right.
So they're rubies, they're baguette cut, they're individually hand set. The case is white gold. The thing is,
it weighs like
heavy.
a pound and a half.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Which not a single woman I know likes big, heavy watches. So it's heavy. It's got the shark skin strap.
I think that's Stingray.
Stingray, you're right. Yeah. I'm sorry.
But so it's like a loud, crazy, overcomplicated in terms of materials, but not so complicated in terms of movement.
Right. Got a see-through back, which is nice.
Expensive.
Blacked out. Crazy expensive originally.
So that's a watch. I think it's up on the website for like $15,000, maybe a little bit less. $141,000 watch.
10 cents.
So yeah, when we talk about value perspective and what holds it, that's not it.
That's
not it. But it's a watch you can buy for pennies on the dollar. If you are that woman that likes kind of a heavy watch
and that red dress you want to go
you want something that's not quartz and it's automatic and it has a power reserve and hey, you happen to like rubies,
we got the watch for you.
There you go. I mean, but when you're us and you're pulling through the vault and you see this thing and you ask yourself,
what is that?
Why do we own this? The answer to that question is it's a $141,000 watch that sells for $15,000.
Exactly.
So, hey, there you go.
We'll find a home for it.
Number one of the WTF watches. I'm gonna go here.
I knew you were going there.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that when I pulled this out of the vault, I was a little bit scared for us. Didn't know how long we owned it or what we owned it for at the time. This, the only way that I can explain this watch is that has to be where you keep the time stone if you're Doctor Strange. It is a weird watch.
It is completely. It's a weird watch with a strap, but you put that bracelet to it, and
let me give you guys
really
some scope
weird.
as to what we're talking. So to me, it's like so. This is the UN. Let me try and give you a close up on the dial here. So it's the name on this thing is the I think it's the Astrolabe.
Yep.
Which is how you're supposed to pronounce it. That's the name's very weird. Oh, it's actually right there.
There you go.
Say it how you like. But this is basically a astral calendar. So it's a sundial. It tells you lunar time, sun time. It's got a calendar. I'm pretty sure it like opens time space continuum.
There's got to be a black hole in there somewhere.
It's crazy weird in like the most odd way possible. We've looked at some crazy cool watches that are like Thanos and I back in the day, like the Central Tourbillon from Omega that we said is crazy, but in like the most awesome way.
Right.
This is weird in like the worst way possible.
The bracelet is what kills me.
I tried to read up so I could like actually tell you what this thing does. I don't think there's a single write-up where someone could tell you exactly how this watch works. No doubt that it's amazing. I mean, like the complexity in it. Somebody spent a lot of time designing this watch.
You always made crazy watches. I mean, between the Freak and the other things. But I mean, this is just like somebody went off the reservation on this
funky,
one.
Man.
Yeah. With the bumps on it, I don't really understand.
I don't think you can look at this watch and not think Omega Constellation. It has that same bracelet structure,
same constellation bracelets,
Roman numerals across it. So I don't know. But it is a solid chunk of gold.
Solid chunk of gold. And it still has a sticker on the back of it. So either somebody just got it serviced or it never worked.
Exactly. This actually has some horological pricing presence. So these, like 5 years ago, these were going for like $25,000.
Really?
Yeah. I think now they're closer to 15. But, I mean, hey, if you want to buy an all gold kind of like funky watch, I mean,
you will not see another one.
This is a total watch nerd watch, and or you got to be like some dignitary to like Ford ambassador.
I was just saying ambassador to
you're getting in an armored vehicle, something like that. But all right, that was another watch that when I looked at it, I was like, I don't know what that is. But anyhow, here you go. That's the highlight of the show.
This is the highlight of the show. So this is Ralph Lauren. Most people probably don't know, but Ralph Lauren, I want to say, got to be 8 or 10 years ago.
I think it was 2010.
Was it that? Yeah, it sounds about. I could be. Partnered with Richemont, who has some of the biggest brands, and decided to design and create his own watch line, and went very high end. I actually used to speak watches with him, and when he was designing them, and we talked about them, and he was very insistent on using the best movements that were available out there. But typically it missed the mark.
Yeah.
They tried to make ladies' watches. It didn't work. We did some men's watches. They had one cool one with a wood dial.
Yep.
that was somewhat successful, but
like an original Jaguar Dash, or I think was burled walnut.
Burled walnut. This one is a PVD, I think.
No, ceramic.
Ceramic, with the yellow in the middle, which just doesn't seem to be the right color about anything. The one highlight of it is it's a Jaeger chronograph movement.
Right.
So it's a real movement.
Right. So the cool thing, so he partnered with Richemont. Some of these watches, like the Ultra Thin, had a Piaget movement in it.
Correct.
There were some of the pieces that originally launched had IWC movements in them. The idea was, we're going to jump all the bull and go straight to super high-end watches, which they didn't have the name for.
Well, the name was considered a fashion brand, so people were thinking of a
Rolex
watch should be $2,000.
That's a pretty watch. How much is that? And it's $3,000, and it was $13,000 or whatnot. So, this watch, I think the retail had to be over $10,000. I would say
I think probably, it was closer to $12,000. I was a dealer from the beginning.
I sold some of these. Yeah, I sold some of these at Toronto when they brought them in. They started bringing them in. The only piece anybody ever wanted was that burled walnut, though. Right. So this piece has a JLC movement in it. Automatic chronograph. Not the prettiest movement, but it is decorated. It's kind of a tinted anti-reflective crystal, so it's kind of hard to get there. But the watch actually brings some value. I mean, you're looking at a watch that was $13,000 new, more or less. I'm going to go ahead and guesstimate. It's ceramic. It's got a JLC movement in it. So, let's figure you're looking at a master compressor or something, right? Those go for $6,000-7,000. Right. This is an automatic chronograph in full ceramic, sans the weird rubber insert. But for $3,000, I think they sell for on the pre-owned market. So
it's no question it's a bargain. It is not something I'd be wearing home.
I think
my wife would be making a lot of fun of me.
Listen, if you wanted to spend $3,000 on something that you're going to regret tomorrow,
that's the guy.
This is it right here. If you put this on a strap, though, I could see it being not so bad.
I could see it being on a black strap. You might get away with it.
Maybe black croc with the yellow stitch or something.
A touch, but that's just, and it's like a mustardy yellow. It's not even like a good yellow.
It's the least offensive of the three what the fuck watches.
Okay, I might give you that. That's true.
But it's also pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
All right. It's durable. That segment. Anyways, so that's kind of fun. Is that it for today? I think that's
all we had covered for sure.
We reached a ton of subscribers over the last couple weeks, so we appreciate that. We have the website that went out of beta. It's not perfect. We're working on it.
It's good. It's better than certainly. I love it. I like the new logo.
Yeah,
I like the
look is really great. I will say that the search bar in the new website is fantastic. It's probably my favorite feature of the new website. You could search anything now. Before I would type Journe, nothing would show up.
Nothing would show up, yeah.
So the new search feature is awesome. There's some really cool features on there. You may or may not have noticed all of the media stuff at the bottom of the show, at the bottom of the website. We're working on that as well. All good things. We're gearing up for second half of the year.
It's July already.
It's gonna get crazy. Next week we have another guest on the trading desk, somebody special that you have not seen on this show before, who I'm pretty excited about. And that's it. I'm glad you came back. It's always good to have you
back. Yeah.
And thumbs up for Manjos for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And being super knowledgeable.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys.